Chapter.
Hi guys, it's Allie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be talking about some of the pros and cons on the econ major at UCLA. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. Okay, so now let's go into some pros and cons for the economics major at UCLA. So I'm going to start off with the pros. The first pro that I have, economics is a really useful and practical major. If you just want to learn more about the markets, economic behavioral incentives, supply and demand, and managing resources in the most efficient way, you can't really go wrong with economics because it's such a fundamental understanding of how corporations work and how markets work, which is so integral to society. So yeah, that's definitely a pro. I think economics is really interesting and a practical major. The second pro is that I have loved most of my professors for econ. They are really chill, they are really smart people. I've had some hard teachers for economics, but I have really enjoyed learning from most of my professors at UCLA. I think they're all very passionate about the topics that they're teaching, so that's always really cool. Another pro is that the electives are really interesting and practical. So in the lower divisions, you kind of get a crash course on calculus and statistics, micro and macroeconomics. But for the upper division courses, electives, you can really take that theoretical knowledge that you've learned and apply it to specific topics within economics. For example, development economics, labor economics, banking and the monetary system. So I, being very into business and learning about the economic structures of the world, I found these electives super cool, and I thought it was really awesome that I could be educated on these topics within economics. So this is a pro for me because I don't always love going to class and sitting in lecture. But I personally love that we didn't have homework for most of my economics courses. It's a bit different for the lower divisions, but definitely in your upper divisions, there is like almost no homework. And I love that because I hate doing homework. I'd much rather be tested. So that's like kind of a personal pro for me. The other thing that I really enjoy is that economics courses typically don't take attendance, or they don't really have a portion of your grade that is attendance credit. So me being someone who likes to control my own schedule and who can be kind of lazy sometimes and not always feeling like going to lecture, I can just not go and look over the slides on my own without having it negatively affect my grade. So I personally found that to be a big pro and like kind of almost one of the reasons why I stuck with this major. The next pro is that I think it's a really good level of challenging. I think the economics major is definitely challenging, but if you really put in the work and you use the right resources to learn the material, I think it's the rewarding kind of challenging. Even though I complain about it a lot, at the end of the day, it's been really rewarding because of how much it has pushed me as a student. The other thing that I think is good is that UCLA's economic program is very heavy in econometrics. That's really good for job interviews because, you know, data analytics is like the thing these days. Because it's so heavy in econometrics and math and statistics, it gives you a really good analytical and foundational quantitative training to talk about in your job interviews. So you can basically use econometrics to ask a question and then collect and analyze the data in a way that answers that question. You can definitely pitch that in your interviews. So the last thing I really like about the economics major is that there's actually a lot of diverse students and a lot of diverse work ethics that you'll run into across the years. So I have those friends that are really chill in class and they kind of don't talk about the class much, doing a bajillion things outside of school, playing all the computer games, kind of just breeze through and get A's on their exam, which is like really, really crazy good for some of those classes that we've been in together. Like A is so good. And then I have my friends that, like me, are kind of stressing about the class the whole quarter, talk about how they're probably gonna fail the midterm, proceed to actually fail every midterm. And it's kind of like camaraderie, you know? It's like support. You're not going to have a class where everyone's breezing through the class and you're struggling, or a class where you're going to feel like it's super easy but everyone else is struggling. There's students all across the board. So I personally like that because I like diverse environments. Okay, so now I'm going to go into some of the cons about the economics major. So let's begin. One of the cons is that the prerequisites are tough. A lot of students are trying to get in, and it's curved in such a way that a lot of students are just not going to get into the major. If you're not great at math or statistics, you're going to have to put in a lot of work until you get into the major. And even if you are good at math and statistics, you're still going to have to study a very fair amount. I don't think anyone just super easily glides through the economics major. It definitely is challenging. UCLA only allows you to get 1 C- or lower in your pre-major courses. So that basically means that you have to get a C or higher in 6 of those 7 pre-major courses, and if you happen to get a C- on more than one of those courses, you are automatically disqualified from the major. So I think that's really hard, and that's a lot of pressure, and it can put pressure on you all the way until you get into the major. So the next con, I personally find this a con, is that the lecture halls are huge, especially again for the pre-major courses. So it's kind of like a small fish in a big pond analogy. You have to be really accountable for your work because no one's really going to notice or care if you don't show up to class. And you have to be really proactive about getting to know the professor or seeking help if you need help. So it's probably not a great major if you like classrooms of 15 people where you can have a lot of classroom discussions, because you're probably going to be walking into a lecture hall like this. Other con is that professors in this major tend to move around a lot. So a lot of them are like doing research in their own fields, and they come to UCLA just to teach for like 1 or 2 quarters. And I find it to be a con because I've had situations where I really like a professor and I want to take more classes, only to find out that he's like moved to like Yale to teach or moved to like University of Chicago to teach. And they're kind of just like temporary placeholders for UCLA classes, which I think is kind of a bummer because it makes it harder to really get to know your professors or like be mentored under them or do like continuous research for them, because a lot of them are moving from place to place so much, and a lot of them don't really stay at UCLA for more than a few quarters or a year. So the other con is that it definitely is a very competitive major due to the popularity of the major, and I think UCLA's like academic capacity. It's structured in a way that not everyone who wants to be in this major can actually be in this major. Inherently, like, you're gonna have people in classes really kind of working to get higher grades so that they can do better on a curved grading system. So yes, all the classes are curved, and in many of the lower division classes, it's curved in a way that 30% of the class is probably not going to pass the class, pass being C-. So that means you can only afford to do that once, and if you do it more than once, you're disqualified from the major. So everyone is trying really hard to pass every class. On top of that, you have students that are trying to go into the best grad schools and the best law schools, so they're trying extra hard to have a stellar GPA. So of course, that's just going to make it harder on a curved grading system. Going alongside this is just like a really small thing, but me and my friends think it's kind of funny. But I noticed this common trend where you ask people how much they're studying, and people are going to tell you like, oh, I'm not really going to study much. But in reality, everyone studies a lot. So the last con that I have for the economics major is that I don't think the courses themselves are that diverse in terms of how the course is structured and what kind of work you have to do for the courses. Throughout my entire economics history at UCLA, I've had 2 papers, and both of those were assigned by the same professor. And I think I've had 1 group project that was also a presentation. And everything else has been tests or homework. So in terms of the kind of learning and the kind of assessments that you're graded on, it's not that diverse. And I think this point is definitely specific to the econ major at UCLA. The econ major at UCLA is a lot more individual and theoretical, and it's not much of a hands-on major as compared to like maybe other universities that offer this major. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this has been an informative video about the econ major at UCLA. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to learn about UCLA in general as a school, then check out my other video, which I will link right below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more videos. Bye guys!